everybody, we're back. Read, watch, play. I am your host, Tony Cox. With me, as always, is
Clifford Parmenter. And
we are here to talk comics. Some Star Trek today.
Oh my God, my feelings and emotions are so intense.
And it didn't come from me. I'm not the one that wanted to talk about Star Trek.
I flipped out over Star Trek, though. Like, you don't even, it's both rage and love and passion
and
all at the same time.
I've got my, that's a little, well, anyway.
It's Star Trek.
And then it says, so it's a Steiner mug. And it says beverage containment system authorized personnel only. I'm not going to tell you what's in it.
Of course not.
And then we're going to talk, you've got a little special something for our play segment to talk about, a little review.
Yes.
So we'll get to that. So before we hit into comics, anything big happen this week?
Have you been watching my Facebook and Instagram? So Brian's gift to me was dinner at this lovely Tuscan restaurant in Rhinebeck, and then his friend Kevin is actually the theater producer for the Rhinebeck Playhouse, and we went to go see Next to Normal, which I had seen it after it won a Tony, and I actually thought, like, this was better.
Really?
Like, they were so good. Also, like, there's a psychotherapist, or, you know, a psychologist in there. They had a woman play the character. She was fantastic.
Oh, wow.
You know, really great. And then everybody else was just amazing. And the set was totally different than the Broadway version, but like it worked. It was just amazing. Like, I just love what they brought to life. And I told them, it was like 90% better than than what it was when I saw it the first time.
Was Tom Webb in this?
Tom Webb, I don't know. You know what? We left there and we never got a playbill.
Oh no. There's a local HeroClix player who does some shows at some of these.
They have two shows going on right now. He might be in the other one.
Yeah, I think he is, because he's not in this one. Yeah, that's awesome. I've never seen the show.
It's heavy duty.
Yeah,
it's very heavy
yeah,
duty.
yeah.
But the music is good, and it ends on a higher note.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel any better, I mean, like, literally, the last act helps it end on a higher note. But they were really wonderful performers, and it was trippy because, like, the opening act, you think everything is normal, and then
it's just next to normal.
No, actually, you wish it was next to normal. It's so bad that you end the show where it's like, hey, we'll never be normal. Let's just be next to normal. So I really liked it. They did an amazing job.
Welcome to Cliff and Tony review Broadway shows.
But anyhow, Brian was surprised, so that's it. And it was great. We had an amazing time.
And he had never seen
happy.
it, right?
He had never seen it. So I'm sitting there I'm like the shoes dropping, and I'm looking at him, and he's just like stoically sitting there, you know. And then he was like, "Their son's not really alive," and then that's it.
Wow. Holy cow! All right, well, let's jump into what did we read. You read some comics. I read a book, and we'll get to that at the end.
Hey, Seth, I think I see you.
That's going to play into our Star Trek discussion. So let's start off first with Action Comics number 996, Son of Zod Unleashed.
By the way, there's a ton of comics, so I'm going to keep it really short.
Oh, let's go.
Okay, so this
is
alternate present Earth where Zod has escaped Krypton with his family, and Zod's son is basically ruling Earth.
Ooh.
You know, so Booster and Superman get a real nice taste of that before they try making their escape. I give it a woo. Pretty good stuff.
Awesome.
Next.
All right. Next up is The Demon, Hell is Earth, number 3. And this is...
Love Brad Walker. Love the story.
6 issues.
Brad Walker's the artist. Hey, Brad, in case you ever watch. It's only a 6-issue miniseries. $2.99. Woo from me. Keep going.
Whoa, boy. Here we go. Doomsday Clock, number 3.
You know I got something to say.
Now, I don't think we talked about number 2.
Did we?
Because I think we were on hiatus over the holidays. So
number 2. left me underwhelmed.
Ooh.
Okay, but not enough for me to tell everybody to like give up on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So number 2, they travel to the DC world.
Hey, Joe.
And hey, Joe. Hey, Sam. So they've traveled to the DC world. The characters from Watchmen, and the two marionette or whatever the heck their names are, the two like Joker-esque characters that have invisible weapons, right? Like they take off. Ozymandias goes after Lex because he feels that Lex is the smartest man on Earth, and Rorschach goes after Batman because he feels Batman may be the smartest man on Earth. And this Rorschach's interpretation of who Batman is fascinating because he doesn't understand who Batman is. So he enters the cave and he sees all the trophies from Batman's cases, and he's like, this man is a collector. He's dangerous, because that's his interpretation of him.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is kind of great.
Yeah.
Like I kind of He also ate Batman's pancakes, which apparently were delicious. So in issue 3, there's still
Alfred does make some delicious pancakes.
Exactly. So issue 3, there's still talk of pancakes, and they send him to go get cleaned up. Rorschach, after Batman's like, "We're cool. We're gonna figure this out." And he's like showering and stuff, and like Alfred's like, "I'm gonna make the pancakes for you," and he's like, "Okay," and he's like, "But I don't belong here. Like this is too lavish, too pristine," and so he's having issues with that. Batman actually reads the Walter Kovacs diary from Watchmen here and starts to try and piece together what's going on. We find out what happened to the comedian. As the comedian was plummeting to his death, Dr. Manhattan just picked him out of time and put him in the DC universe.
Really?
And so that's why he's fighting Ozymandias in the present. And then he's like, that glass is too dense, too bad. I'd love to throw you out that window. And they're like fighting, and then like Ozymandias kills the lights, and they continue fighting, and Ozymandias throws himself out the window, and then slides down the side of LexCorp's tower, hits a ledge, does the triple freaking somersault through the air, and gets away. So ultimately, Lex is injured because they were assaulted, right, by the comedian. So he's
in this issue?
Yeah. They're wondering if Superman is involved because it's like over 90% of superheroes that are active on DC Earth are in the United States. Why is that?
Wait, say that again?
Over 90% of the superhuman community are active alone in the United States.
In the DC universe.
In the DC universe. And so they're blaming Superman for it. They're trying to connect all these weird dots. Okay, so we also have do you know who we meet? Do you know who we connect with in this issue for some strange reason? Johnny Thunder. He's in the old folks' home, and he keeps waiting for his daughter and grandchild to show up. I don't even know if he has a daughter and grandchild. This could be just a delusion he's having. The two whack jobs think that they're in Jersey, but they're actually in Gotham. And they're like, this is definitely not Jersey. And then their invisible weapons were actually shown that they are invisible weapons.
Really?
And they probably produce these invisible weapons. Wow. So they're going to go look for the Joker. Because they hear about the Joker while they're murdering people. And then after they slaughtered a whole bunch of people, they're like, let's go find this Joker. There's also an old movie that they keep flashing back to in the old folks' home. I believe that based on the way things went in Watchmen with the comic book, this old movie is going to have some kind of like parallel somewhere.
Yeah.
And it has a couple parallels right in the actual comic. Yeah, look at that. See, an invisible string just appears and she goes right through the guy's head.
Wow. These guys are nuts.
They're super nuts. This issue is worthy. This issue delivered heavily, and makes me wonder.
Does it feel like Watchmen?
This one is the one that came closest to feeling like Watchmen. You want something interesting? Look at Batman's outfits.
It's gray and
blue. You're right, like the 80s Batman.
Huh.
He puts on the more classic outfits.
Does this take place in the 80s DC universe?
No, but it's very weird. And then I wonder if that's Batman at all. Because Batman leads new Rorschach away and locks him up. Yeah, it's really it's a really. I don't want to give too much away. You guys need to read it. I'm on the fence of just like what caliber this story is ultimately going to be, but this issue did not disappoint. This is the issue that convinced me.
I may have to jump in on this.
That we may have to jump. Exactly.
It's starting to get good.
Yeah.
I was just so like, I don't know.
I think there's an area to be wishy-washy about it because like it's like, well, we're making a sequel to Watchmen out of this.
Yeah.
And I have that heart of Watchmen is supposed to be something special. Okay, I have 2 honorable mentions, by the way.
Okay.
The first honorable mention is Superman number 39. So Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman invite some children from a cancer ward up to the moon. Mm-hmm. If you need a comic that's going to warm your heart and make you cry for an hour straight, this is the comic for you.
Great.
Okay? I mean, it was beautiful. So they planned a scavenger hunt for the kids on the Watchtower. This boy over here got Batman to laugh by telling him a joke. So they're like, holy cow, you made Batman smile. And then they all went out in little spacesuits onto the moon with Superman. And he goes, everybody has their rock? He goes, okay, put your rocks down. And they all carved their names into the rock. And I'm like, our names will be here forever, right, Superman? He goes, forever and ever. And they're like, can we just stay here for a minute? He goes, of course. And they stare at the Earth together. You know?
Wow.
Bawling my eyes out. So that's my honorable mention.
So that's Superman number 39.
And my other honorable mention is a gift for Tony.
Oh.
It's number 12 of U.S. Avengers.
Ooh. Did it come out and I just missed it?
You came out, you missed it, and you could not reorder it.
Wow. Oh, this is awesome. Woohoo! I get to find out what happens to Cannonball.
Yes.
Oh, wait, I already know. Because I read Avengers No Surrender.
But by the way, guess what?
I cannot wait to
guess
finish
what it
this
says
story.
on the last page.
Continued in...
Yes, exactly. See, look at that. Look at that.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. To be continued this January in Avengers number 675.
Isn't that great?
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right.
So now you can the completist in you.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. All right.
I thought you'd be happy.
Thank you very much. All right. So next up is Flash number 39, Perfect Storm Part 1. Grodd is back.
But more importantly, the last issue ended with a cliffhanger. Guess what? Remember he says, if I'm going to do this, blah, 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 I don't want to do it alone. What do you say, Iris? And it's just the two of them in his mom's grave. He suits her up in a Flash suit, and they take off and start having a little adventure.
Did he give her the Speed Force?
Apparently, he's sharing the Speed Force with her. Wow. So I was blown away. And of course, Grodd is back, and it looks like it's building up to Flash War.
Very cool.
So I'm very happy. Big boo on this issue. Next!
Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps number 37, Zod's Will Part. It's very Zodish.
Do you need me to say anything more than other than woo? Like, I don't even have to say anything else. I love it. Wow. I love that Zod is hanging out in the DC universe and just showing up and kicking butt. He just, Suicide Squad, it's like, oh, we need him. Nope, you unleashed a monster. Wow. And then it's like, Amanda, what have you done on the pages of Superman? It's like, well, we need answers to people like you. And he's like, and then look what happened. He escapes with his kid. So it's great because Superman's trapped in another world where Zod's son rules Earth. And real Zod is hanging out in space, taking over stuff, fighting the Green Lantern Corps. I love it. I love it.
Before Zod.
Yep.
All right. Next up is Justice League of America number 23.
Okay, so Steve Orlando loves digging up characters. Mm-hmm. Loves digging up characters. So this is a very good issue, and of course the Queen of Fables is kicking butt and winning all around. But there's a huge spoiler surprise at the end of the last page. Someone from the realm of stories feels that they must come forward to battle her and defeat her. Mm-hmm. And it's the most unexpected character that we haven't seen in a decade in a property owned by DC, but is not DC. Yeah, Alan Moore's Promethea. So they are just after everything Alan Moore. Everything Alan Moore. Now, of course, Steve said that he specifically chose this character because of the nature of the character, right? Because her character is also based on lore and things like that. So he felt she was the correct counterbalance hero for this story. Wow. So anyhow, huge woo for me because I liked the build up, and of course the fact that it just felt like you can't. This is an insurmountable enemy, right? Like Earth is more desperate than ever. The evil Batmen are still running around causing chaos, so her power is only growing. You know, which is kind of funny because like ultimately the evil Batmen are going to be nothing. She's like, oh, I'm so strong now. I can just crush them because all of you made me so powerful. Yeah. I kind of like that.
Great. All right, next up is Nightwing, The New Order, number 6 of 6.
Yes.
Boy of Wonder. So this is the wrap-up.
This is the wrap. I don't know what Dawnstar is doing there, by the way, in the lower left corner on your side. Yeah, but this is like such a strange role. On my side, that's Black Vulcan from the Super Friends. But I like it, and this was a very weird like story. You know, but you know, I loved it. I loved how they handled Starfire. I like how they handled Dick. I like how they handled all the superheroes losing their powers and Dick Grayson's son ushering in a brand new age of superpowers. So I mean, I'm not going to ruin it. I'm going to keep it short. It's still a woo for me. Right. It's just a weird alternate universe story. But of course, again, it ends on a high note of hope at the end. And, you know, Dick Grayson sacrificed everything to put an end to superpowers in the world. Yeah. And now he's like lived to maybe regret it and be there to coach his son.
Ooh, very cool. All right, next up is Wonder Woman number 39, Swan Song. Once a friend, now a killer.
Yeah, if you want another book to make you cry.
He's got a great outfit, by the way.
Of course, yeah, it's so great. And Emanuela's art is on fire, as always. And the story is lovely. And I didn't know what James Robinson was going to do, but I'm really happy with this change. And like, seriously, the art is just always gorgeous.
Let's get the table cam at him if we can, please. Look at that. That's really nice.
And every time Wonder Woman says Vanessa, I just get like a chill. You know? Like, because I hear her voice. You know?
Look at that.
Beautiful.
All right, thank you, Adam.
You know what's funny? So Wonder Woman's voice is not Linda Carter in my head.
Really?
Yeah, who's like? This is like a weird question. When you read a character like Wonder Woman on the page, whose voice is Wonder Woman's voice?
For me,
yeah,
it's New 52 animated. Whoever the actress is that does that.
You mean Justice League Unlimited animated?
No. I guess Justice League Unlimited, but I was thinking actually the New 52.
Like when they did
because that's the first
one, yeah.
Where they adapted the first like 12 issues or whatever of the New 52 Justice League run. It's the scene where she gets ice cream with Steve Trevor.
Oh, and the little girl.
That voice is that's like the quintessential Wonder Woman moment for me when I think of like how she sounds, but also Justice League Unlimited, which may in fact be the same actress. I'm not entirely sure.
I'm not entirely sure, but anyhow, so yeah, I just like. So you know what's funny? Wonder Woman's softer, kinder moments. It is the Wonder Woman you named, and sometimes it's Linda Carter for the softer, kinder moments.
It's funny. I've honestly never seen that Linda Carter Wonder Woman.
Oh my god, I can't believe it.
Like
we have to.
Do you know what I've seen more of? I've seen more of the Adrian Palicki Wonder Woman pilot that got canned from David E. Kelly than I've seen of Linda Carter Wonder Woman.
Okay, we have to correct this. There must be a course correction.
You know who Linda Carter is to me? She's the governor of Vermont from Super Troopers,
which was filmed right in Fishkill.
Yes.
Hopefully, and so far the sequel a little bit
too. It was the sequel filmed over there
There's
too.
Some of it.
Oh, that's awesome! I saw the new trailer for the sequel, and I am like super excited for that.
I know you are. So another huge woo for me.
Awesome.
And It's funny, Wonder Woman's voice. But yeah, like it's weird reading things, and like my characters have voice. They have a voice that I'm like.
Well, it's interesting though that when you do, so it's Susan Eisenberg.
Yes.
And let's see if she does the voice.
Wait, whose voice does she do in Injustice?
Wonder Woman. She does
yeah.
Wonder Woman in Injustice. Wonder Woman TV series? That must be an animated. Yeah, she does the voice.
Oh, it was the little mini one. Okay.
Yep. Justice League Doom.
Yep, it's her again.
That's Justice League Doom is the. Isn't that? That's,
no, they fight a Legion of Doom in that one.
Oh,
that's led by what's his name?
What's the one? Superman, Batman, Apocalypse.
That's where Supergirl's introduced.
Yeah, it must have been a different actress for
that one. But yeah, she's done a lot of them.
She did Wonder Woman in Justice League, Justice League Unlimited, Injustice, Wonder Woman animated series, DC Universe Online. Yep. She does that.
Listen, I happen to really enjoy her voice, and it screams Wonder Woman to me most of the time.
Yeah. All right, so next up is Avengers No Surrender, Part 3.
So, have you been following up on this?
I didn't have enough time to read the second one, and now that the third one's out,
I'm trying very hard to give it a shot. I like this one. And like I told you, like every issue like has a different team on the book, and then like a kind of like a different team in the book. Yeah. So
is the fact that it's a different creative team is that hurting?
No,
the flow at all?
No, I think because they're writing different characters.
Oh, right, because it's a different team in there.
Right, exactly. So what I like about it is it's giving you fresh perspective. Like, so this issue, it's Quicksilver and some of his cohorts, and we're watching the action through their side, and they're trying to handle, their part of the situation of like, well, maybe we can gather some intel on like where we are. Why did we get banished to whatever place this is? And and just last issue was a lot of like, some of us have to like keep, the citizens in check. Like there's still people who need protection and saving and stuff. So I like how like all of these elements are kind of in play. And then like the looming outside element is like, the people left behind who are like, where did Earth go? So like Captain Marvel and like a bunch of satellites. It's like, all right, guys, we need to put this together. So mild woo because I'm not sure how this is going yet, but I'm still in. I'm trying to give him a chance.
All right. Next up is Marvel 2-in-1: The Thing and the Human Torch.
Okay, how do you not love this just based on the cover alone?
Well, you got Infamous Iron Man.
Right, Infamous Iron Man
is that a mole?
That's the mole man, the mole monster.
The mole monster?
Yep. Because and this of course is reflective of the classic issue.
Right.
So of course, when they think, we really need help finding the rest of the family, of course they think, maybe, just maybe, because he's parading as Iron Man these days, maybe Victor will help us.
Victor Von Doom.
How do you think that goes?
Probably not great.
Not great. Not great. I do enjoy that. I don't know if you remember this whole thing during Infinity when Thanos was approaching to attack, or prior to Infinity, right? Namor went to Doom and like told him the whole story of like what they had done. And Doom is like, and he goes, and your greatest mistake is you didn't come to me first. Get out. And then Doom starts like collecting all and then of course we find out that Doom is like the enemy that they've been trying to avoid, and by not going to him first, they were creating their own villain. So I love that. So here it's kind of like, well, we came to you first, so it's like
we did the right thing now.
It's well, no, because they have no part in that, right? So like it's just like massage the ego. We're dealing with Victor. Massage.
Nice.
It's a fun. I like it. It's like a fun book. I know this is building to something, but like while we're on the adventure of where the heck is the rest of the team, it's cool.
Do you think they're gonna? Do you think we're gonna get a Fantastic Four comic?
I think
by the end of the year?
I think if everything Not by the end of the year, because right there's something. There's a bunch of process that I don't understand with the Fox merger.
Well, so the Fox merger has to has to go through like regulators and the government and that kind of stuff, and it has to be. I think it takes like a total of 18 months to finalize.
Right, so I feel like we're not going to see the Fantastic Four for a while.
But let's be clear that Marvel Comics and Marvel Entertainment can do whatever they want with the Fantastic Four.
As far as comics go, yes.
Yes. That they chose not to do something as to not support, because their thinking is like they wanted to subvert Fox and basically do whatever they could to sabotage their efforts to have a successful movie franchises, because as soon as Fox stopped making Fantastic Four movies or X-Men movies, then the rights would revert back to Marvel. And so they felt that this was a good way to try to speed that along.
Someone thought that.
And Bob Iger decided, we'll just buy them.
Is that Joe Calfiore?
Yeah.
Like the artist?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh my goodness. Like, hi and welcome. And
hi.
And we love your work.
Hi, Joe. So next up is Thanos, number 15. Thanos wins. I love this cover, by the way.
This cover is amazing.
Like with Hulk on a leash and the Spirit of Vengeance with some kind of space weapon. What is that? A Chitauri blaster?
I think so. Right?
That's
yeah.
insane.
Of course it would be Chitauri. So I like that this is what's left at the end of everything. Like, death cannot be found. Thanos is like, I just want her back. I think Ghost Rider is Deadpool, and then there's the Hulk.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Whoa.
it's pretty great.
Spirit of Vengeance Deadpool. There's a comic we need.
Yes. Again, woo. Cates is doing an amazing job here.
Awesome.
Definitely pick this up.
All right, next up is X-Men Blue.
Again,
Cross-time capers.
I'll keep it sweet and simple. They confront those future X-Men, and then they kind of this is 19.
19.
Yeah. Wait, do I have 20 as well? Oh, for goodness sake.
Oh,
Anyhow,
whoops.
there's 19 and 20. Anyhow,
yeah. There's also an annual too.
And there's an annual.
We'll get to in a second.
Anyhow, woo for 19, woo for 20. And there might be a whole new X-Men Blue team that's going to replace them.
Really? Shall we move on to the annual cover?
Yeah, let's move on to the annual.
Boom. Now, this was interesting. Do they normally release... Because this came out the same week
The
as 20.
same freaking day.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because it's the annual. Yeah. But it has to do with the freaking... It's a Venom crossover thing. So I wasn't thrilled.
Oh, wow.
You know? And of course, it's a $5 book, so... If you really love Venom and you love all the Venom things that have been happening, this is totally for you.
Yeah.
But if you really love X-Men Blue, I mean, for a completist, get it. And if you're not a completist, save your $5, spend it on something else. Yeah. Spend it on Doomsday Clock.
There you go.
Not like me.
You heard it here first. All right. So last. Yep. Okay. So
did we get through all of them?
Yes. That's all the comics.
Woo!
So I read, let me clarify. I didn't actually read. I got the audiobook.
Okay.
For the first Star Trek Discovery novel, Desperate Hours. And I just finished it the other day, and I just wanted to mention a couple things about it, since we're going to be talking about
Is this the one where she actually teams up with Spock?
Yes.
Okay.
So this takes place, it's written by David Mack, who's written a bunch of other... Star Trek novels, and also
a bunch of comic books.
Has written Daredevil,
yep.
And several other comic books. So definitely check him out. So Desperate Hours takes place 1 year before the events in the Battle of the Binary Stars, the events in the first 2 episodes of Discovery, and 1 year after the original Star Trek pilot episode, The Cage, where Captain Pike goes to the planet with the Talos, and everything happens in that episode, which is re-edited into the 2-part Star Trek episode, The Menagerie, where you learn all of the events that happened prior to that. Anyway, so
I really love how they handled the pilot is the pilot, and
which never aired.
But they still embrace it as a.
It was genius because Gene Roddenberry took the 2 hours that they used for that, re-edited it into a two-part episode where Spock steals the Enterprise to take Pike back to that planet because Pike is basically disfigured and in a wheelchair, and basically saved the. I mean, he created 2 episodes out of one episode because it was minimal filming needed for the Kirk and Spock
and yet
court-martial
still managed
scenes.
to tell a great story.
Yeah, it's fantastic. The thing is like Star Trek was a pioneer in how television was made in so many ways. It was incredible.
And we have Lucille Ball to thank.
I
love it. I love that she just sat there at Desilu and she's like, no, we need more creative shows.
And
Do
then,
this.
And then later on, the Bee Gees, which were responsible, the couple were responsible for the letter writing campaign that saved the 3rd season of Star Trek, so that it could get over 75 episodes, so that it could be sold into syndication, which is where it really became popular when it was run after school. So I mean, it's a lot of little things that happen that really turn this franchise into the juggernaut that it is.
Yeah, can you imagine? I was having this. Oh God, I don't want to derail us. I've been having many talks lately with people about is there fate? Is there universal forces that work towards us and whatever? And someone says, if you're working towards something, really good, or you're spiraling down a dark, out of control path, it's like the universe is going to conspire towards you. And unfortunately, it could be towards a not great thing, or it could be towards something really, really wonderful. It was a very deep and complex conversation. However, I like to believe that the universe was conspiring to help make Star Trek something really wonderful.
We should start a separate podcast that's all about destiny.
And Star Trek.
Yep. So yeah, because it's really amazing that certain things needed to happen certain ways in order to.
How about Nichelle Nichols almost quitting the show, but Martin Luther King Jr. telling her, "What are you, crazy?
Yeah, you can't
You're
do
the
that.
only show I let my kids watch."
Yeah, he said my kids watch the nightly news every night, and then the only show I let them stay up and watch after that is Star Trek.
Yep.
And he said you don't understand that you are a woman of color, an officer on the bridge of a naval ship, and that message that is being sent to children watching that is too important for you to leave, because she was a stage actress who wanted to return. She wanted to move back to New York City and go back to Broadway, and he said nope, you can't do it. And so she went and she told Gene that she wasn't going to leave the show, and that.
Or how about that all of her fan mail was hidden from her. And then I believe I believe she never said who in the interview I watched, but I believe it's Leonard Nimoy who actually retrieved it and brought it to her dressing room and was like...
Leonard Nimoy actually...
he fought for the whole cast.
He fought for a lot of the cast.
Many times.
For equal pay and lots of stuff. And it's if you don't know the history of Star Trek, you should, and you're at all interested in any of that kind of stuff, it's really a tremendous period and a tremendous part of American culture in general, and really important in a lot of ways.
Is it Trekkies, the first documentary on
Trekkies and Trekkies 2?
Yeah, I highly recommend both.
Yep.
But the first Trekkies,
is great.
The stories being told there.
Oh yeah,
I was freaking like
the
crying.
woman who was on the jury in the Clinton case.
Yes.
It's incredible. Everything that's in those documentaries.
Every one of them, either a personal experience with Star Trek from one of the actors or the cast or the crew, or people profoundly affected by Star Trek.
The story of James Doohan tells the story about how he received. It was either a phone call or a letter.
It was a letter from that girl.
A letter from a woman who was contemplating committing suicide and reached out to him and just told him how much Star Trek meant to her. And he called her and he said, "Are you going to be? I'm going to this convention. Are you going to be there? I want you to come." And she said, "Okay, I'll be there." And then he said, "Okay." And then there he said, "I'm going to be at this convention. Can you come to that convention? Can you come see me there?" And she said, "Yeah." And he continued to do that for I think a year. And then after that, she just kept coming every year to the same convention. And
it saved your life.
Yeah, and Doohan is almost in tears telling that story.
He's almost in tears, but I feel bad because it also looks like he's struggling to remember some of the details, because in his later years, unfortunately his mind was affected. But you're right, it's very touching to watch.
Yeah.
Very, very heartstring pulling.
Yeah, Star Trek has certainly meant a lot to me over the years, and I'm incredibly excited that there's a new show taking a different approach to it and adding something new to the Star Trek lore and to the Star Trek mythos.
This show with every episode went from, this is interesting, it's
definitely the long game. You got to be in it for the long game.
But not only is it the long game, but it just, beyond payoffs, just like, first, the actors are very good.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh no. This is an amazing freaking cast.
Yeah.
I mean, they go from, we're selling you this sci-fi garbage to, you saw it. You didn't see. It's like, you didn't see all of this coming. You saw a couple things coming. You didn't see all of this coming.
Yeah. So anyway, this is a book review.
Yes, I'm sorry.
We'll get to the show because we're going to talk about the show in a little bit. This is the story of this colony that is doing some mining, and it's got a corporate sponsor, and they're kind of shady a little bit. And they unearth this giant juggernaut that comes up out of the ocean as a result of the mining.
Hey, what is the corporate sponsor, like an alien race?
They're I believe it's an alien entity, but they're a Federation
member
mining consortium or something. It's
weird because once the Federation is introduced to Earth culture, they start abandoning things like corporate greed and everything, which of course is one of my favorite things about Star Trek. So it's always weird when something shows up like this.
Right. This seemed to be like the people who are involved on the planet are Federation citizens, and that the Federation possibly maybe it's a Federation colony or an outpost, and that the mining that's being done is a third party has come in to mine, has hired the locals to mine it, and there's some agreement with the Federation so that they get some of the resources and then whatever.
You know, it would be really great for me if the mining crew were Romulan.
Oh yeah, no.
Because that would be such a cool throwback to that guy, the Romulan.
Yeah. Well, in this period, the Romulans are they're keeping hush hush. They're very secretive at this point.
Of course, but that doesn't mean there ain't a couple of them who like money.
So the miners unearth this giant juggernaut probe ship thing that starts attacking the city. So the closest starship is the Shenzhou. Captain. And it starts with Burnham. Georgiou brings Burnham and Saru into her ready room and is promoting one of them to her new first officer. And of course, it's Burnham. And so we see, it's amazing because there's this, in one of the episodes of Discovery, there's this conversation between Saru and Burnham about how Saru feels angry at Burnham because she took away the time that he was supposed to get as her first officer after she was promoted to captain, and that because of her actions at the Battle of the Binary Stars, she took that opportunity away from Saru, and so that time, and Saru is very upset about that. And what's amazing is this book reflects on that, or is like those statements that Saru makes in that episode are a reflection of what's happening in this novel, because because Saru has a hard time accepting the fact that Burnham's being promoted above him, and they're and there's this thought that maybe she'll fail and then it'll be switched and whatever. And so this juggernaut thing is happening. So the Shenzhou shows up. They're trying to deal with it. The ship sends out these drones that are attacking the Shenzhou.
So this is a very advanced
yes
technology attack.
And it's very alien. They're not quite sure what to do. Then the Enterprise shows up with Pike, who has orders from Starfleet Command to neutralize the planet, even with everybody on it.
Something I just don't feel like Pike is comfortable, even this version of him.
So it's a weird thing because that's the one part of this novel that I had a hard time with, was I don't feel like Pike would have gone along so easily.
Yeah.
And the thing is like, but he had to, because what it does is it sets up a conflict between Pike and Georgiou, where they're at odds. They're almost facing off against each other. And then what ends up happening is that Burnham circumvents the chain of command and sends a message to the lieutenant science station on the Enterprise,
which of course is Spock.
And she's assuming that Spock will be there, and that their familiarity, having been raised by the same parents, will help.
You know what's so funny? Because the first time you talked about this, it's the fact that they focus so much on their dad. You know?
On Sarek?
Yeah, it's right. Like, it seems like Sarek really is the one that gets all their emotional gears. You know?
Well, it's because he's the Vulcan that never, you know, it's like in the previous episode where Burnham goes down to the planet of rebels, and Mayor Sarek mind melds with her, and then he says all these great things about her. It's like that's the closest she's ever had to her father, like, praising her.
Yeah.
Is this mirror universe version of him who doesn't know her at all, that sees all of this amazing stuff that she's done, and you know, basically compliments her up the wazoo to mirror Vogue, and like, you know, and that acceptance and that and everything. And I think that the dynamic of the relationship between Burnham and Sarek and Spock is amazing. And like the way that they've weaved all of these story points from other episodes and things,
the cartoon series,
and brought them together into these relationships. I mean, it's interesting because Sarek on The Next Generation has Bendai syndrome, which you could argue the reason he has it is because of his mind meld with Burnham that brought her back to life, and that could have been a major step towards the deterioration of his condition, and that causes his Bendai syndrome later on. So it's fascinating to me how they've weaved all this together in this character.
No, you're absolutely right.
And at the end of this novel, it's very apparent why Spock has never mentioned her or their like, and it's heavily implied that they didn't really live together. That like she was a ward of Sarek and Amanda, and that possibly her housing or her dwelling was adjacent to, or like it's interesting the way that they talk about stuff. But in this, what ends up happening is that Spock and Burnham go down to this juggernaut to investigate the interior.
But you know, Burnham makes a comment in the series about like, oh well,
being red.
Yeah, being red, and she goes, "Well, when you're the only two human women in a Vulcan household, those words come out of her mouth."
That's true. So she probably was there, and in fact, it's one of the there's a part of this where so they go into this juggernaut and they have to pass all of these tests to continue through exploring, and they're working together with each other, and the thing is that they haven't seen each other in years, like 10 years or something. So, and they have these preconceived notions of each other that they sort of work through this relationship. Meanwhile, Georgiou and Pike have decided to not destroy the planet, and Pike says, "All right, well, let's take a few hours to try to figure this out, and then if we can't, then we do."
Right, and our science officers are down there, so we're going to.
But Pike, it's so funny. Pike in this novel is very like, well, Spock knew what he was signing up for. Like, so if we got to destroy the planet, we got to destroy the planet. And I'm just like, like Pike to me just doesn't seem that hardcore.
Yeah.
Like pre the Cage Pike, I could see acting this way, but post the Cage Pike, I just feel like is not quite his thing. So at a certain point in the story, Spock and Burnham have to have a mind meld so that they get mentally in sync when they're doing this puzzle, and through that, Burnham sees all of Spock's pain and emotion of his father's neglect, and how his father never, like his basically everything we've learned about their relationship over the past 30 years. And also the fact that because he followed his Vulcan way, he could never accept his mother's affection. And then he sees in Burnham his parents' almost showing her what he always wanted to be shown because she's a human, and Amanda showing her the love and the physical love of hugging and holding and everything that Spock so desperately wanted but never received because he was Vulcan and he should have, and it wasn't in the Vulcan way, but that she could show Burnham because she was human. And so it was very interesting and
it's very twisted, and when they cast system.
Yeah, I won't spoil like how the mission ends, but obviously Spock goes back to the Enterprise and Burnham goes back to the Shenzhou, and Spock has a conversation with the first officer of the Enterprise, a brief conversation about Burnham, but the inner dialogue is that he's somewhat embarrassed by his feelings towards her and how he didn't get to know her and then had these assumptions, and now that he's gotten to know her, and then the pain of thinking about her brings up that pain of how he never got that love from his mother that she got from his mother.
This is such a great time. It's a shame. I really want classic Spock to show up on Discovery, and I really want the next Star Trek movie to feature movie universe Michael Burnham.
That would be amazing. That would be really cool.
Where it's like Dr. Burnham is coming on board. Dr. Burnham. And it's like, who the heck? And I would love it if she was a science doctor.
Yeah. Joe, we're going to hang on a little bit because we're going to talk about Star Trek, the TV show, Star Trek Discovery TV show, and I'll answer those questions when we get there.
I think they did a good job of keeping its scope of time.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
So if anybody's interested, there's a new novel out that's, I forget the name of it, but it features Lorca and Georgiou, so I think he's involved somehow. And it may explain something. We'll talk about it a little bit later. But if you're interested at all in the Discovery, I highly recommend picking this up. The relationship between Spock and Burnham is definitely what you're going to get out of this, and also the relationship between Burnham and Georgiou.
Was it one voice actor all the way through?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was he good?
She was okay. She didn't do voices or anything, but it was okay.
It's not like the guy who did the whole Harry Potter series. That guy was awesome.
No. Or even Will Wheaton when he did Ready Player One. But all right, so let's move on to what did we watch, and we're going to talk briefly about a couple of CW shows. Let's start with The Flash. Was great this week.
Oh.
The debut of Elongated Man, who was named by himself actually. Yes. He says it to the reporter. He's like, I'm just kind of elongated, man.
I do like it elongated.
Yep. Okay, and
it's a great outfit.
It was a great outfit. Great scenes. Barry I was more worried what they were going to do with Barry in prison. Mm-hmm. They've really and Goldberg shows up.
Yeah.
Is this? I'm assuming the CW probably has a wrestling show or something because there's no other. Because they did the same thing.
The CW does have a wrestling show.
Yeah, this is cross promotion for that.
Of course, absolutely.
They did the same thing in Star Trek Voyager when they had The Rock on a Star Trek Voyager episode. Look it up. It was one of his two first acting gigs. That 70s show.
But yeah, what's his name? He plays Big Sur. Big Sur is a Flash character. He actually Big Sur hung out with the Wally West incarnation of Flash.
Oh, really?
And cool. He actually had this. So he had this power or gravitational power where there was a black hole inside him.
Ooh. Interesting.
And
maybe that's what Henry Allen took out. Maybe it wasn't just his appendix. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, but no, I didn't know who he was, and I actually enjoyed him in the episode. It was
a great episode.
I'm glad I didn't know he was a wrestler. It helped me. I think I would have enjoyed it more.
It's funny. I just saw him on the show The Grand Tour, which is the hosts of.
Is it the Amazon Prime show?
Yeah.
Okay, it's the host of that.
It's the host of Top Gear, the former host of Top Gear. It's their new show, and they every week they bring on two celebrities, and who share a similar thing. I forget what the Goldberg one was, but it was it was who's the fastest man who punches people for a living. And so it was a boxer and Goldberg, and then they put him in a car and they race. They go around this track, and whoever has the fastest time, they match those up. So,
Do a full screen of
at least
leave it full screen, and then we can switch to the other one too.
So Prank.
Yes.
From the original 90s Flash show, she was in one episode.
Yes.
And it's the same actress.
Yes.
And she's
great?
back. I was like, this blowing up, because I used to watch that Flash show when I was a kid. And when she I was like, wait a second.
Did they really get this
I was
woman?
like, there's no way that's the same actress. There's no way. And they went, and I was like,
Listen, I don't even know if she's had any gigs in all these years, but they went and got her, and it's like, yes, I'll do this.
Man, and like they just, this was such a great episode.
It was a really great episode.
At first, I almost thought she was going to be Harley.
Well, in a way, she really kind of is.
I just love what they're doing with the characters and the villains, and Ralph becoming the superhero, going in and visiting Barry in the prison, and then getting his Barry sort of talking him into being the superhero that he needs.
I really like that, because he's like, I want to spring you, because you're the one who really is the hero.
And he's like, nah, I can't.
And it was just, it's so. First of all, I love Devin Gray, who plays Axel Trickster.
Oh, he's so really.
And this
really
and the actress here is Corinne Bohr, I think is her name. I could be butchering it, but anyhow, I'm just so excited that it was really her.
I was very excited. She did a great job, and I loved, just everything about this episode. I really enjoyed. Flash has been just firing on all cylinders.
And again,
really
this episode, co-written by Sterling Gates.
Yep.
Let me tell you, that man has brought that comic book writing experience and turned it around for this show.
Yep. Very cool. All right, so next up, let's talk about Star Trek Discovery. So, Joe, I'm going to answer your question, Joe. So, Discovery takes place, I believe, 8 years before when Kirk is in command of the Enterprise. So, the first episode of Star Trek, the original series, where Kirk is in command of the Enterprise, is Where No Man Has Gone Before. Discovery takes place 8 years prior to those events. The production quality obviously looks more like the new movies. That's just the changing times. And anybody who argues that that's not Star Trek is wrong, because when Gene Roddenberry got money to make the motion picture, the first thing he did is he put ridges on the Klingons.
Yep.
That was a Gene Roddenberry thing.
Also, look how amazing that Enterprise looked.
Oh, yeah. The Enterprise.
Oh, my God. They spent like 12 minutes just showing us how amazing the Enterprise is.
I mean, half that movie is just like,
it's just like touring the Enterprise.
These money shots of the Enterprise.
Be like, look what we could do, everybody.
Yeah.
Look what we could do.
I mean, Kirk literally takes like a 12-minute tour of the outside.
Yeah, with Scotty. It's great.
Yeah.
You know? It's, you know what? It actually is one of my favorite moments with James Dean, because he's able to capture Scotty's pride in that moment, even though the two of them were probably looking at nothing for 12 minutes.
So, all right. So, spoiler alert. Let's throw up the spoiler alert, because
it's all spoilers.
It's a Star Trek spoiler alert.
First of all, how fabulous does she look?
She helped design the sword that she's carrying.
Really?
She like the props person came over and was like this, and she's like, yeah, okay, let's do this, let's take this. It doesn't weigh right. Like she was like, she's
like, it has to be
balanced. Yeah, she's like, it's got to be balanced.
Has to feel like the real
so
thing.
they took it back and they redid it. It was amazing. So,
and you were absolutely right about her hanging out for filming.
Oh yeah, I was like, and I was. What did I tell you about Lorca last week?
Well,
2 weeks ago.
Yes. And you did say that was a floating fan theory, and it did come to fruition. However, it was still cool.
Well, that's the thing is, like, I've heard some podcasts, they talk about, like, we already knew, so it wasn't this, or, like, it wasn't a surprise, or this. And it's like, it doesn't matter. It's the journey of the characters. It's watching the characters discover those moments.
Yep.
It's watching Burnham realize.
Also, I like putting a mystery together as a viewer.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so I pick pieces
and not everybody knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
Some people tweeted and they were like, didn't see this coming. I even told Rich my fan theory, and then he still was like, I didn't see it coming. He's like, I didn't see it coming at all. And so the Discovery has
full of discoveries.
Has found itself in the Mirror Universe. And this is great because they have fully embraced Star Trek canon. They talk about the USS Defiant that has gone back in time, that came from the future prime timeline into the past of the Mirror Universe, where a lot of the technology comes. Georgiou knows what the United Federation of Planets is, and as soon as it's realized that Burnham is from the United Federation of Planets, Georgiou kills 90% of her council because she doesn't want the ideals of the Federation to infect the Terran Empire any more than it already has.
Ooh.
Brilliant. And by the way, I can safely say...
are you telling me some of those ideas have already affected them just from when, what's her name?
The Defiant...
When what's her name took over as Empress?
No. What I'm saying is that it's like the legend of Luke Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If slaves who were working on the Defiant or who were pulling that ship apart got out and let people know, hey, there's a universe where humans are benevolent and there's hope. And there's hope, and there's hope. And the next thing you know, the rebellion rises.
Yep.
Okay? And I think that's what she's trying to quell.
Yo, how ridiculous is her ship, though?
Oh my god, it literally looks like it has a sun.
Yeah, it's a star.
Inside, yeah, like
a star
inside of
Our
it.
sun is a star. It's a star powering a starship. I was like,
I don't know if
out.
that, now that you mention it, I don't know if that starship moves. It may just be sitting on a star. And that doesn't go, because it's the palace.
It's true, but it's crazy.
Yeah. So,
again, amazing visuals.
Amazing visuals. The production quality of the show is absolutely incredible. And just the costuming in this show.
Oh my god!
Is
yep, there's the sword.
Insane.
Definitely full screen this. That's what we need.
It's just amazing. So, last week
and look at Burnham in the background. This is such an amazing shot.
Oh yeah.
Like you don't know how freaking psyched I was when I found this. I was like, yes.
This episode directed by a woman, by the way, which is so important because the scene in which Burnham and Georgiou are dining on Kelpian.
Yes.
That was good. It was
amazing.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
And because earlier in the episode, she's like, she welcomes her back and praises her for bringing, evil Lorca back, thinking that they're both the mirror versions of themselves. And then she says, now pick out a Kelpian. And you're like, oh, Burnham's getting a new slave.
Yeah.
Nope. She picked out her dinner.
Yeah.
It was, and Sonequa Martin Green is just like plays that scene amazingly. Like she makes me want to get ill because of the way she reacts to eating the ganglia off of the chopsticks.
Georgiou is played by who?
Michelle Yeoh.
Oh my god, that's right. It is.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Tomorrow Never Dies.
I'm a fool. Yo, she just gets better with age.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember when she was in Super Cop. Mm-hmm. I mean, talk about oh my god.
Anyhow, she's actually she's worked with both Jackie Chan and Donnie Yen and Jet Li. She's worked with all three of them.
Listen,
she's an amazing martial artist.
She's an amazing everything. It's just the fact that like I've been watching this show and I have not been associating her with her other roles. Mm-hmm. I am captured by her as Georgiou, and then to be the Empress version. Oh my god! Like it's one of my favorite things.
Yeah, it was almost like a Dyson sphere. You're right. It was crazy.
Well, they always play with that theory a lot. Well, no, the Dyson sphere is kind of like a theory, right? Like,
yeah, no, it's a real theory.
Yeah, so like, no, but I love how
we thought. In fact, NASA like released the whole thing about this star that they found where this object kept going in front of the sun, and they still don't know what it was, and they hypothesized one of the theories was that it was a Dyson sphere being constructed. Ooh. In real life. This is like in real life. So yeah. So it's a thing. So this and even if you know what's coming, they do a great job because there's a moment when Lorca's being tortured and the guy keeps asking him about his sister's name and Lorca doesn't give it up. They bring in that guy and he's like, leave that guy out of this, and you're thinking, oh no, he's not Mirror Lorca. He's not. And then boom. He's Mirror Lorca. And the light sensitivity and just like...
Right. And writing off the light sensitivity as like a battle issue. Like, well, my eyes have been sensitive ever since,
So huge reveal.
Yeah, another great.
Everybody's amazing on this show.
Everyone was okay. The last 4 episodes, the entire cast went from great to blazing amazing.
Here's the thing. Is that so first off, this is a streaming show that you cannot binge watch right from day one.
Yeah.
And I think that that's very important because I think it's important in Star Trek that you digest the episodes, you talk about the episodes, you think about the episodes in between.
Well, I love that they have the after show piled right on to because obviously that's
sort of decompress and get the back
and it worked and
scenes,
it's worked so well for Walking Dead that obviously it transitions well.
And I think having the break helped. It helped. Well, number one, it helped them get caught up on special effects because that was one of the reasons why they had a break was because they needed to get caught up on the special effects of the show. The other thing is I think it helped the viewers because you're able to come back in a meaningful way. There was a good cliffhanger. You want to come back. Maybe you rewatched everything up to that point, and then you jump back into the show and everything. This really was the long game because they develop the characters and the relationships in the first half of the season. You have the prologue where everything happens to Burnham and you establish the relationship with Georgiou. You could not do that in flashbacks throughout the show and then have it be as impactful in this second half of the season. You had to do it this way. Everything that they've done was a choice that they made, and I think the right choice in hindsight.
Well, you're absolutely right. Like I said, it was it's like a weird slow burn. Mm-hmm. That then all of a sudden is just oh my God, you guys just...
Well, this is what the show's about, is this second half.
It just took a little while to get there. Our Klingon situation.
There's so many things that are just unresolved. You're what's going to happen?
The Klingon situation feels so back burner this episode, which I'm not... It's maybe there's 2 things that made me unhappy this episode. It's the smaller of the 2 things that made me unhappy.
Well, I love that it's simmering on the back burner while everything else is exploding on the front burners.
Yeah.
Because you're literally how are we going to deal with all of this in the end? And that's what's exciting. There's only 3 episodes left in this season.
And I love how there's all these little details about the Defiance getting to the mirror universe slowly but surely. Like the fact that it had a spore drive and all these things.
Oh, it didn't have a spore drive.
No, but what would it have? Spore technology?
No, the Defiant?
Yeah.
No. It was so you can watch you can go back and watch the Defiant go to the mirror universe. It's in the episode The Tholian Web.
I did.
In the original series.
Yes. It just, they don't say much about it.
No. What it is the area of space is interphasic space. And they talk about it in that episode about how it's a weakened point in space. And that...
Oh my God, I'm so stupid. I'm mixing up 2 freaking plot points in my head.
Oh.
I just realized that. You know what I'm thinking of, right?
Well, I don't think there's another ship that has a spore drive. I think Discovery is the only one... Prime Universe Discovery is the only ship that has a spore drive. I think Mirror Stamets, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, is experimenting with spores.
That's exactly.
But I don't think anybody has a spore drive.
No, it's Mirror Universe.
So
experimenting.
So yeah, the Defiant passed through interphasic space. That transition caused the crew to go mad and tear each other apart. And you see them, they talk about that in the Tholian Web episode, and then they talk about it more in the Enterprise episode when they find the Discovery. And then you discover that the Tholians have caused that space to become unstable and to be a gateway between the universes. Whether or not they know that, but they have purposefully weakened that area of space on purpose. So the Tholians may actually be going back and forth on their own and doing some weird stuff.
By the way, so I finally rewatched those 2 episodes of Enterprise. Yep. And I like that the Tholians are in it too.
Oh yeah, and Archer kills a Tholian in it.
Yes, no, and it's so funny because he's thinking of what would Mirror Archer do? My Mirror Archer do? Yeah, you know, and his Mirror Archer is tormenting him. I would never settle for this. You have to go out there
because Mirror Archer's a little, and so he finds the he finds out that there's another version of him in the Prime Universe, and he starts thinking, and he reads the historical records about what a great man he was, and then he starts thinking well, I deserve this, and then Prime Archer's like whispering in his ear as like this made up thing that he has in his mind about how how he thinks he would be, and it's just it's really crazy.
Oh, it's super crazy. I really loved what's her name there, the Vulcan. T'Pol, because T'Pol was. It ties into the events here, because T'Pol is someone going like, that universe has hope.
Exactly. And that's the thing, and that's what Georgiou doesn't want to have happen. She wants to maintain order, and the fact is that so the Defiant comes through and introduces the thought of the Federation to the Mirror Universe. Now Burnham and the Discovery is here and fortifies that ideal. She even meets with the leaders of the rebellion, and some of them had to have gotten away.
Yeah.
Okay, and they know that there's another, something out there. Then in Mirror Mirror, Kirk goes over and convinces Spock that there's a better way. Spock then becomes the Emperor after that and changes the policies. And then in Deep Space Nine, we find out that through the actions of Spock weakening the Empire, trying to make it more like the Federation, the rest of the quadrant banded together, created the Klingon-Cardassian alliance, and then overthrew the Terran Empire. And then we find out, if you consider the comics canon, that in the Star Trek Broken Mirror comic series, that they didn't actually, in Deep Space Nine, they talk about how the Empire's gone, the Terran Empire's gone, but it really isn't. It's just been curtailed back into its solar system,
right? One little solar system,
and hence why we have Picard getting the Enterprise and all of this stuff, and trying to battle the Klingon-Cardassian alliance. But there's a full timeline of the Mirror Universe now. This is incredible, and I love how they're planting these seeds of how Kirk on his own may not have been enough to actually change everything, but that you have these three instances tying all of these episodes together, causing this downfall of the Terran Empire. And it's amazing because they even touch on it in this, that this Terran Empire stems from a Roman Empire that may not have fallen. And that we see that this is now the fall of that empire. So it's really amazing what they're doing. And then it brings it all back, and what this show is really about is, how do you face your inner demons, those demons of yourself? And they're doing it in the only way that a Star Trek science fiction show can do, in actually taking you to a universe where there's an evil version of yourself. And you have to face
Science
that.
fiction has given us many ways.
It's incredible. So,
hey, Sean,
how's it going? Wait, as I listen to this, and I'm not spun up on the show, but what is it all Star Trek work together? I never knew. Okay, so Sean, this is gonna blow your mind. Okay, the Marvel Cinematic Universe and how amazing that is. Star Trek did it first. Every single Star Trek show is tied together. Even the new movies, the reboot movies, are part of the official canon. Everything is connected in Star Trek.
They're just part of a Star Trek multiverse.
Yes, but Spock, Prime Spock, went to that universe.
Yes. And
it's all connected. It's all part of the same universe. It's all an interconnected universe. Everything is together.
And Prime Spock is the one who helped populate New Vulcan.
That's right. It's incredible, because everybody thinks how amazing the MCU is in doing this connected thing, but Star Trek did it before everybody else did it. Star Trek's been doing it for 50 years.
It's funny. It's so weird how they're getting special credits.
I know. Go get a sponge and clean up the brain off the floor, because your brain's everywhere now. It's insane. I could get Sean. I'll give you a list of episodes to watch that interconnect with different
series.
With multiple series. Yeah,
the Trouble with Tribbles, even
the Trouble with Tribbles, and then Trials and Tribulations from Deep Space Nine. The Tholian Web and the Star Trek Enterprise in a Mirror Darkly episodes are directly connected.
And now
This connects with all of that. It's incredible. You have no idea. If you're ever bored and you have, I don't know, 800 hours to kill, you could watch every episode and every movie of Star Trek.
I know, but if you want to, you could trim down to particular episodes.
Absolutely.
Tie them together.
Absolutely, you could. But it's all connected, buddy. All of it.
And most of it is on Netflix. So
everything's on Netflix except for a handful of the movies and Discovery. Yeah. Everything else is on Netflix. Yep. It's all connected. So let's talk about Stamets v. Stamets.
Yeah, I can't even.
I don't trust this guy. Mayor Stamets is up to no good.
Of course he's up to no good.
Up to no good. And Colbert, Spore Ghost Colbert, even tells him so. And I gotta tell you, so let me tell you this.
All right, because you know that this is the scene that had me out of my freaking mind.
And this is the scene that I think Wilson Cruz was talking about on After Trek when
I know,
he said
but
some of my best acting, because he was amazing in this.
First of all, I was freaking... Okay, in case you didn't read my notes, I was freaking crying watching the scene. Just sobbing watching the scene. And so it's amazing acting, and I absolutely love it, and it was wonderful, but at the exact same time...
Sean, I have 2 kids myself. I have 2 boys, 2 and 5, so I completely understand.
Yes. Oh, no, God. Wait, how many kids is Sean up to now? The oldest one and 3 others? I don't know, Sean. You know, I'm losing track. You have very powerful... So anyhow...
So I'll tell you the Star Trek episode where the crew turns into children, and then your children will want to watch. We'll get them all into Star Trek, and then they'll all want to watch it with you.
That is such a great episode, by the way.
Yeah, Rascals. TNG episode Rascals.
Yes. And it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
So, anyhow. So I love this. Absolutely love this. This scene. And I cried at the exact same time. It confirmed bury your gaze and fridging for me at the exact same time. I was losing it because it was like the thing that I was critical about previously in our discussions on Read, Watch, Play. And then, but it was also beautifully executed. So I was left just completely emotionally wrecked.
Wow. That's a lot of kids, Sean.
3 great kids.
So when he died, in the scene when he died, in the episode when he died, I said to myself, first I was shocked. I was like, they killed him. And then I said to myself, but he's like, why did they just do that? They just killed, I wanted to see more of their relationship. It was, a gay relationship on Star Trek. I wanted that to be a thing. And then they just killed him. And I'm like, why would they do that? And not even thinking about, bury the gays and all that stuff. It was just like, why would they do that? Then I said, okay, but it makes sense for the story that would happen that way. So let's see. Then he said, he's not gone. He'll be back. Okay. So then I watched this, and when it's pretty much set that he's gone, I was furious. I looked at my wife and I said, I am so mad now. Now that I've seen this, I am so mad that they killed him.
Yeah.
I'm so mad.
God, and oh my God, that whole thing about just wanting to go back to the way things used to be,
and they're in the
brushing each other's, and it
goes back to that episode.
Yes, I lost it. But you know what? Like I said, broke my heart and also gave me one of the best stories at the same time.
It was so. The only thing I can say is that the crew of this show, the writers, the producers, very diverse group. A lot of females, non-whites, minority, everything. There's a lot of diversity. One of the executive producers is openly gay, and I think he's very aware of what they did.
Oh, he's super aware.
But I think he was aware when they did it.
Yeah.
And I think that this is a story choice that they made and they stuck to, and I'm glad that that's their conviction. I think that the one positive from this is that it creates a conflict in the viewer with Tyler, because Tyler's still around, and possibly now more Tyler than Vok.
Yep.
After what L'Rell did, because it was implied that she fixed him back to Tyler and then does a Klingon death howl after she remembers her memories of Vok. So now I'm like, okay, is Vok gone? And now we're left with Tyler?
Because she didn't realize that that's exactly what she did. She's like, oh crap, I essentially just killed Vok because I'm fixing him.
I think that could be it. She was trying to fix his brain, and then he goes from speaking Klingon to English, and she realizes, oh wow, I did the wrong thing. I went the wrong way. Vok is dead, and then Klingon howls. So, but now every time we see Tyler, we're gonna remember
associate him with
this, and it's not gonna. It's like Kylo Ren in Star Wars. He killed Han Solo. He's irredeemable in the fans' eyes. Irredeemable. You cannot redeem Kylo Ren. It doesn't matter if they try to in a movie. You just can't. And now I think, how do you redeem Ash Tyler? I mean, because it's a complex thing. But
I don't.
And how is once this is all over? Because Stamets hasn't even had time to grieve, and when this is all over, how is that relationship going to work?
I would love to meet their ship's counselor. I think that'd be a great character for the. By the way, I'm up for the role. Like, please come my way. See, I'll be happy.
They film in Toronto, which is relatively close.
It's true. I'll drive up. It's fine. I'll meet you there.
Yep.
I'll be happy to play the ship's counselor.
So Stamets gets out of his coma. He lets Tilly know, and then he discovers that from what he learned from Mirror Stamets that the spores are infected with something, and that the network is being destroyed, and he needs to save it.
Right. So Mirror Stamets has been communicating with him weirdly all along.
And we know that because when Stamets comes out of one of the jumps, he says, "Captain, what are you doing here?" to Tilly.
Yeah.
No, and now we know that Tilly was the captain. He talks about something in the palace in the woods, and it's the forest, and that's the spores, the mushroom forest,
yep.
and the palace, Georgiou's Terran Empire palace. So there's definitely been this, communication, and through the spore network since Stamets has started navigating the spore network. And now there's a problem with the spore network, and this could very well be why we never see it again in Star Trek.
Yeah.
Is it may deteriorate to the point where it goes away. But I don't know how they're going to get back. I don't, let alone, how they're going to face off against Lorca.
Or if they go through Tholian space to go back.
It's going to be.
And then, what about Mirror Discovery?
I know.
Right? What horrors are happening?
I'm slightly disappointed that we haven't had... you take the train, yeah. If it was only that easy.
To Toronto? Yeah.
To Toronto.
Exactly.
I thought he meant from the Mirror Universe to the Prime Universe.
No,
to take
to
the train.
Toronto. Thank you, Sean.
But, they have to face off against Lorca. They got to get Burnham back. There's a lot of things going on.
Based on what Lorca had to go back to, I'm surprised he didn't want to just stay Mirror Universe Lorca.
Like Prime Universe Lorca?
Yeah, just continue to.
No, because the thing is he wants to be the Emperor.
Oh yeah, that's right. But he
wants to be the Emperor.
Yeah, well.
And the only way to do that was to get the most formidable, soldier he knows and loved.
Oh, that's right. That Michael Burnham was his lover. By the way, did that blow your mind? Because that one was a good surprise for me.
I thought it was coming, and then they telegraphed that it was. Then they telegraphed that it wasn't, and then it's confirmed that he is. And so it was very.
I know. For Prime Michael, it was quite the revelation.
And her Sonequa Martin Green's react. Just amazing. It's just.
Dude, this whole episode is just one of the most amazing exercises in body language from her.
Oh yeah.
Right? Not only is her acting superb, but the body language that she brought through the entire episode, because she's constantly in these scenes.
First, she's all stiff because she's trying to be evil Mirror Burnham. Then she's is eating kelpie and is oh. Then she has to confess that she's from the Prime Universe, and then then she finds out that the Lorca that chose her and brought her over and orchestrated getting her on board and bringing her there in the first place, that she was played and she didn't notice it.
And remember how in the beginning he's I feel like this was meant to be, because he figures I'm gonna get her back. I'm somehow gonna get her back through this Michael Burnham. Oh my God, it's so great and weird.
Well, I think I have a feeling that he's gonna think, oh, there's no way to go home. You guys are stuck here, so you might as well enjoy it and be with me.
Yeah, probably. And they're we're going to Tholian space. Have a good one.
Yeah, but they don't know where to go because the files have been redacted.
They're gonna figure it out.
They got to deal with Lorca first.
Of course, they're gonna deal with Lorca first.
And by the way, there's a lot. Obviously, since the show began, they there were clues that this was a thing, right? And one of them was when you see the scars on his back, one of them is in the shape of the Agonizer from the Mirror Mirror universe from TOS. So
the original series.
Yeah. So anyway, if you're not on board with Discovery, you need to check it out. This show is really turned into,
and there's still 3 episodes left.
There's still 3 episodes. I don't know where they're going from here, but don't worry about. If you watch the show, don't worry about like
Star Trek history. You don't need
Star Trek history or like the look or whatever. Just get to know the characters, focus on the relationships, and take the journey with them. Even if you figure stuff out or you don't figure stuff out, just take the journey with them and be in the moment with them and watching them discover these things.
I can't believe that people were knocking points off because they figured stuff out.
It annoys me so much, and
I mean, really, everyone's a critic of their savage. If they figure stuff out,
I almost
it's
can't
not
watch
good.
reviews of this show anymore because
I can't. I'm done. I can't because because it's just like do you just not enjoy anything anymore?
Any review that says, well, in a normal Star Trek episode, this is what we would get, and I want to say, you know what? If you want normal Star Trek, go watch the 700 hours of normal Star Trek there is. This is something different.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I mean. Deep Space Nine is not normal Star Trek.
No, it's not.
It's an
and
immediate
in many ways, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the final season of that show, is the grandfather of modern day television.
Yeah,
I mean, in many ways. I mean, that show ended in '99, and when did we start getting these serialized TV shows?
Yeah. And didn't they get millions for the budget for the final episode?
I don't know if they got millions. Deep Space Nine was the show that like nobody really cared
about.
No,
I know, but they got
they
got millions for the finale, so they could do all those epic space battles and stuff.
Oh, that's true. But by that time, a lot of that was CG.
No, but still, they got millions for the CG for 1999. Come on, they were like, all right, guys, we're gonna throw you some cash to make this a grand finale.
All right, so huge woo from both of us.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Show. It's been a huge woo for me because I'm a Star Trek fan, but it's becoming a really good show.
Yeah, the payoff keeps growing, and I like it even more.
And even if you're not a Star Trek fan, you'll enjoy this show as well.
Of course, that's what's great. I mean, I just think it's a great show. Yeah. And then, of course, it's also awesome that it happens to be Star Trek, and there's more for us because... Well, more for you because you really love Star Trek, but but I'm familiar enough with what's going on that I'm like, that's neat.
Yeah. And I think this show is going to get rediscovered when it gets onto Netflix or Hulu or something, where it's more accessible.
Or if it starts airing in syndication.
True. I really think that we're going to see. I think in a year or two, people are gonna discover this show, and they're really going to be like, oh wow, this is really good. So. All right, let's move on to what did we play? And this week...
I want to say one last thing about what did we watch.
Oh, yeah.
Because I love Flash, and what I did not say about Flash is that girl from the future is definitely Barry and Iris's daughter.
I didn't even... How do you know she's from the future?
Well, did you notice what she's writing?
I didn't know what she was... Is that the secret language? Is that the language that Barry was writing?
Well, yeah, but it's the language that Barry was writing, but it's the language of the 30th century. So I would love for her to be tied into the Legion because that would be comic book accurate.
Yeah.
However, Supergirl and her Legion and Flash are in separate universes, so...
Yeah,
whatever.
But they could have a Legion in each universe.
That's true, too. That's right, because there's a Kara Zor-El in their universe, and we don't know where she is or what happened to her. And I told you, my secret wish is for one day for them to do an episode featuring Power Girl, and Melissa Benoist is playing her.
Yes!
And then it could be like, well, how come we don't have a Superman? And then it's like, my cousin's ship never made it to this world. And then that would be so great, right?
Dude, you just blew my mind.
That would be the perfect. I think that would be one of the most epic episodes.
It'd be amazing.
Or major twist, she's Power Girl, and she goes, I don't know what happened to my cousin's rocket, and the end of the episode is Kal-El's ship freaking arrives, and he's a teenager in the ship, like Supergirl was a teenager in her time.
Oh yeah, he got lost in the Phantom Zone.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Or, just went through a wormhole that spit him out at that moment. They could do it, and I hope they do.
They better.
Because I love the way that freaking Reverse Flash during the crossover tells Supergirl, "I faced your cousin. He's not faster than me." You know, and I'm just like, which version of her cousin did you face?
Yeah.
That's what went through my mind. So that was for Flash.
Yep.
So that girl definitely, I believe it's their daughter. Now, so comic book wise, they give birth to their twins in the 30th century because they go to live out their days there, and then the crisis happens, and Barry dies in Crisis on Infinite Earths. So that's like the classic story. The Flash story that I recently reviewed, again, there's a future, there's the Tornado Twins. It's not the 30th century this time around.
Yeah.
Just stuff to think about. But definitely, I believe that is their daughter. It's super clear, and I love that she's writing, oh my God, I can't believe, I'm ashamed of myself for not remembering the language that they called the language of the 30th century. Rebecca.
Hey, Becca.
Hey. So that's who I think she is. And on Supergirl, she went to go fight Rain.
I haven't seen Supergirl yet.
Yeah.
Don't spoil it.
Okay, great episode.
I probably watched it.
All women. I'll tell you this a little bit. So Fort Ross is still around, and it's around a blue star. So Supergirl's like, great, I won't have my powers, which, by the way, not comic accurate. A blue star is more powerful, more fresh, more robust
Than a yellow.
than a yellow sun. You would think Supergirl will get more powerful from the solar radiation because you'd be less powerful under less gravity from a red sun.
Right.
So I didn't like the logic of that episode. Sorry, guys. So Supergirl couldn't go alone, so it's an all-girls team. What's the other reason it's an all-girls team? There's a bunch of Omicron radiation being emitted by that star, which is super fatal to males. So her and her little squad, her, Saturn Girl.
My wife's going to love this episode.
You are going to, and then Livewire and Psy go up there to figure out what's happening on Fort Ross. It's an amazing episode. I'm not going to ruin it for you. You guys are going to lose it when you see it.
Love it. Did you watch Black Lightning?
Oh my God, it's so good.
I haven't watched the second episode yet.
Okay, I'm not gonna. All I can tell you is, this show, it knows itself.
It looks so good.
Yeah.
It's like there. It's there.
Yeah.
All right. So what did we play?
Ah.
All right. We have a special. What did we play?
Look how beautiful he is.
So we have.
This is all the way from Kerwin's in Poughkeepsie.
This is all the way from Kerwin's in Poughkeepsie. We have. This is a variant Play Arts action figure designed by Hitoshi Kondo.
And it's Magneto.
It is Magneto, and this is produced by, surprisingly, Square Enix.
Yes.
The video game company.
Yep. Known for things like Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy, Chrono Trigger.
Yep. So this retails for $150.
US.
US dollars.
USD.
And of course you can pick it up at Kerwin's in Poughkeepsie, but it is beautiful.
So what drew you to this? Because you were like, we need to talk about this on the show.
No, because, okay, so I've been watching Midtown Comics unbox Play Arts figures.
Friend of the show, Henry.
Hey, Henry. I've been watching them unbox Play Arts figures, and I'm like, dude, like, we have to get one. We have to. So we're not unboxing because this boy has to be sold. Yeah. However,
we're not as big as Midtown Comics.
They are just so beautiful. And come to me, I am Magneto. No one can escape my magnetic power.
Has some comic panels on the back with the figure, which is very cool.
So great. Like, the box already is beautiful, and then you just look at the reveal, and it's just so cool. Like, you have your Magneto. There's all these amazing effects that you can play with Magneto. Those those like blue lightning shards and whatever. And I love it. And
magnetic.
And there's different.
Fields.
And first of all,
there's different expressions.
You can change his face.
You can change his face.
You can change his hands to fist or different things.
Yep.
I mean, and it's super posable.
And it's got this style too that's it's very
it's like a splash of manga style.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. And so there's also Black Panther up there.
Yep.
And there's a Wonder Woman by Play Arts up there.
I think there's an X-Force Deadpool.
There's an X-Force Deadpool
I have
and
a picture
a
of
Spider-Man.
the regular Deadpool, but there's
you
a Spider-Man.
You guys have the white.
We have the white suit Deadpool. Yeah. These things are incredible.
I think these make a great gift, and I think it's the appropriate price point. We saw an Iron Man that was $389. I just think this makes a much better gift. For $150, I know it's like higher price point. It's not an everyday thing, but I think for people who like really, for the X-Men lover in your life,
oh yeah,
I think this is beautiful. Wonder Woman's a hit. Wonder Woman costs less. I think she's only $100.
Yep, Wonder Woman.
Right?
There's Wolverine.
Yep.
You know, there's some really cool action figures. Also, one thing to mention is this is a higher price point. If you can afford this, you know, by all means, this is one of the higher end ones to go with. This is probably comparable to like the Hot Toys stuff, I think.
In some ways, but I mean, I think they got the stronger reputation at the moment.
Yeah. And also, if you're looking for something a little bit more affordable, the Marvel Select line
is very
from
good.
Diamond is very good. $25 those things retail for, and
you're not getting
this.
Yeah, you're not getting like posability and cool like little effects that
they're a little bit posable, and they do have replacement hands and faces,
but not to this
but
level of detail.
I mean, not the accessories that this comes with, obviously.
The only
that is an option.
No, it is an option, but again, I feel like that one's just more everyday purchase accessible. Not like literally every day. I just
but
feel
if you
like
want something special,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I love these. It's like, you know, if you want that little something special in your collection, that like you can always like tweak it and be like, you know, today Magneto is going to have a bubble. Like, you know, like that's what I love about this. Like it's so good. And PlayArts makes so many things. They have little stands to help you post figures that you can purchase from them. They have additional plastic effects you can order from them in a variety of colors. So if you wanted like, you know, later on in your life, after you purchase Magneto, throw another $50 in to add effects to Magneto to make him look more beautiful on your counter or shelf or display case, because we know a lot of people with display cases.
Yeah. This is like if you're one of those people that collects one character, like this is one of the items you want in your collection.
I think there's a lot of Magneto fans out there.
Yeah.
Even if you're an X-Men fan, it's worth it. Yeah.
Or this specific one, or if you're a Wolverine fan, get the Wolverine one. You know, if you have a bunch of Deadpool figures, you know, look for the Deadpool version.
You know what? There's somewhere out there. There's an X-Men fan who's like salivating and like calculating, like how am I going to get Magneto and Wolverine and Deadpool and the other version of Deadpool that they mentioned,
the whole team.
Yes, but actually, it's funny because yesterday in Midtown they unboxed a Wolverine and he's in the yellow-brown suit, which is one of my favorites.
Oh, cool.
And it wasn't by PlayArts, it was by someone else. But again, it was a very nice figure. I think it was a $100 figure. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, I've been obsessed with these because I just love that there's all these special effects and things and all this posability, more so than a lot of the other figures we've seen. And then I wanted to mention the Marvel Legend figures. So the latest release of the Marvel Legend figures, 5 of the 6 characters pieced together one of the Wakandan warrior women. And I was just like, oh my! And so of course, Carbons of Poughkeepsie has every single one except for Namor, and Namor has her freaking no, not her head. Has her other leg, I believe.
Oh wow!
And I'm just like, oh my god.
Yep. So if you're local to the area, go by Kerwin's in Poughkeepsie, in the Poughkeepsie Galleria on the 2nd floor near Macy's. Check out these figures. They have we've got about 8 of them, 8 different ones up there.
Of these,
of the PlayArts,
it's Magneto, Black Panther, Wonder Woman, Deadpool, and Spider-Man.
Yep.
So there's 5 of them, and then of the $100 Marvel ones, there's Daredevil.
That's right. We also have a couple from.
I forgot what.
We also have a couple from HasCon. We have the Thor.
You have the
special
Thor
edition
fold-out from HasCon,
that we talked about at the Poughkeepsie Comic Expo.
Yep.
And there's the Daredevil one of that. And I feel like there's one more too that they have.
I put a bunch of pictures on my Instagram if you noticed.
So follow Cliff on Instagram and
Cliff
check
NY.
out all of those pictures. So
Yes, and all my other personal stuff too. So like, but it was great.
Hey,
but anyhow,
the
so
whole package.
I'm excited to share. And you know what? If I get the money within the next month, I will buy this for myself.
But if anybody out there wants to gift it, Cliff's birthday was just a few days ago.
That is true.
But my birthday is in a couple weeks, so.
Send him Star Trek stuff.
Yes. There's a Diamond Selects Khan Kirk fighting one that I almost got. It's only $25, and it's him it's Kirk pushing Khan over the console in the engineering room.
Nice.
Yeah, I almost.
Is it an action figure or it's just a?
It's just a display.
Okay,
yeah.
But that's still cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, so let's move on to Thought Bubbles. Let's wrap this thing up. So thank you very much for joining us. So yeah, Star Trek has been amazing.
Yep.
We can't say enough about it.
I'm happy with most of the CW shows.
CW shows, I kind of miss Legends. I really
and pretty soon we won't have to. Oh, I
back.
keep hearing that Wally's going to Legends.
Yes, I did. They confirmed that Flash Wally West is going to be going to Legends of Tomorrow, which I'm super excited about.
Me too. And you know what? He needs a home because I'm sorry. Once he got the powers, they just were like, "Oh, this is cool. We have Kid Flash. We don't know what to do with him."
Well, I felt like they did a. I mean, it was okay. He was learning his powers, but now I feel like he's grown to the point where he's good enough on his own.
Yeah, and obviously they're not sending him over to Titans, which would be a dream for me.
Oh, why don't they do that?
I don't know. It's a Berlanti-related production, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah,
but who knows? It's just it's just like I want Deathstroke to be connected with it. And
I'm pretty sure they got the. I don't know. Maybe they are putting Deathstroke on Titans.
I mean, you have to. He's so much of their villain.
But I wonder. But there was that. Now that Deathstroke is in the
DCU,
movie,
yeah.
The DCFU, by the way.
Is that what we're calling it?
DC Film Universe is what they're called. That is the official term from Warner Brothers.
They
need the DCFU.
They need better. They need better people.
It's so appropriate
on board to help them.
It's so appropriate.
I think someone thought this was cute and they went with it, and they are wrong. They are wrong.
Well, that's what we're calling it now, the DCFU. So.
Oh my god.
It's the DC Film Universe. I don't understand what the problem is. They certainly don't have that problem with Flash, because Flash has its own TV show, and he's So why can't there be? And they've literally introduced the multiverse on the TV shows. Why can't we just have all the characters on the TV shows? I don't understand it. Batman cameo, get it done. That's all I'm saying. All right, anything else before we close it out?
I just always feel like there's so much I want to say because this almost felt like a slow week, and then it felt like an overwhelming week because I was reading all these comics and I'm like, I can't talk about all this week. I can't. And I saw
a lot of good stuff came out this week. I even had Sex Criminals come out, Star Trek Discovery comic came out, Betty Page #7 came out. And something else.
I thought of you when I saw Betty
Darth
Page.
Vader. Oh no, Darth Vader didn't come out, but I got more issues. So I missed issue 6, so I gotta go find issue 6 for Betty Page. So I'll probably read it on Comixology and then jump into 7 and then talk about it next week. So
I feel like it covered every. Oh man, there's just so many things, and I really do want to talk more about games, but I guess after I do again. Oh. This upcoming Saturday. I'm sorry, guys. I got to pull it up. I'm a terrible person.
This coming Saturday?
The 27th? Yes, the 27th. You can play.
Is this the trivia?
No, the trivia is expensive. I mean, I can't afford that right now. Ambria, play with the creators.
Ambria, play with the creators. Yes. Yep. Those guys are in what, New Paltz?
No, they met in New Paltz when they were going to school there, and they created this game.
Paw Warrior Games is the name of the publisher.
Paw Warrior Games. You can follow them on Twitter and on Instagram.
That game, by the way, is amazing. They came up and demoed it for me, and I was at first I'm like, local designers, how is this going to be?
No,
and
it's
I
really
played the game. It's a great game. They have an expansion for it already.
Yep. They've had 2 successful Kickstarters.
Yep. And it's a fun game that you want to play with your buddies. It's a great drinking game if you're hanging out, or it's just a fun game to play with the family if you like to sort of get at the other person a little bit. Unique game mechanics and board state, it's very different, and and it feels fun, and you feel like you're a mischievous, mystical entity that's really messing with all the players.
And one of the characters is a very mischievous.
Absolutely, and they I'll tell you what, it's funny when they told me how they designed this game, where they literally took decks of playing cards and created and wrote what the powers would be on the cards. and then that's how they developed the game, and then they sort of threw on the theme afterwards. It really feels like you're doing the theme of the game in the game. Like they did a really good job. It's
they did.
I think they're gonna have a successful career as game designers.
It's gonna be Imperial Castle, 33 East Main Street, Pauling, New York, this Saturday, the 27th at 2 p.m. So you get to meet the creators, learn from the creators, hang out with them.
Play some games, play a great game.
I'm very much gonna try and make this. So
if you're in the area, check it out.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So, guys, thank you very much for watching. This has been a very exciting week, and we're looking forward to this. I feel like there's been a lull in like a lot of entertainment stuff.
And yet not at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, TV stuff has been great. I think TV is where we're at right now. And then come Black Panther, it's going to send us off into... And rumor has it, the next Deadpool trailer, the full Deadpool trailer is going to be with Black Panther.
Nice.
So, very excited about that. And supposedly, sometime tonight, there's some new Infinity War footage on a Canadian TV show.
Nice.
So I think we might be getting an international trailer. And also, they released an official synopsis for Solo, a Star Wars story. And as soon as they release the official poster, we should be getting a trailer soon after that.
Well, it is going to be soon. The movie will be in theaters.
The movie's going to be in theaters in 3 months.
Yeah.
4 months. 4 months.
Still close enough.
They need to like speed up the process here.
They're letting everyone digest.
People are worrying that this movie is going to be terrible. Rumor has it that Disney is already planning on this being a failure.
Ever since I was most traumatized by when that happened with John Carter of Mars.
John Carter of Mars was buried to buy Star Wars. It's a theory that some pundits over at Collider have that Bob Iger buried that movie so that when George Lucas was looking to sell Star Wars, he didn't say, "Oh, well, you already have a sci-fi franchise," which John Carter, the John Carter comic book has some influence into Star Wars.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff that I'm sure George Lucas looked at. That John Carter
movie. A lot of people have told me
it's a great movie.
Yeah, I love it.
I enjoy it very much. I
used to tweet about that movie.
Yeah.
I bought the Blu-ray. I love that movie. Like the opening is like a little slow, but it is one of my most entertaining films, and it looks so beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
It looks so beautiful, dude. Every time the princess freaking that first moment where she speaks to the screen, just everything. The color in that moment is beautiful.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen John Carter of Mars, check it out. But I'm pretty sure that they buried that movie to make room for Star Wars. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. We'll catch you next week. I'm your host, Tony Cox.
Clever Parameter.
And you
tweet us,
yes. Comment on Facebook. Let us know what you think, what you'd like to talk about. We're going to have some fun segments. Next week, I think we're going to do top 10 comic book events or comic book runs.
Events. Or runs.
Yeah. Well, because there's storylines. Yeah. Top 10 comic book storylines. Something that you can go and buy a trade paperback, and whether it's like the Nightly News is one of my favorites, and that's just a 6-issue series that isn't really a huge event, but it's something that I think every comic book reader should read. So
I think mine are an interesting blend of this is a great story and this is a monumental event and a great story.
Yeah. So check us out next week for that top 10, and we'll see you then. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.